Power doesn't disappear because someone attacks you. It disappears the moment you reveal too much. Most people think control is taken from them. That's a comforting lie. The real damage begins when you speak to the wrong person, at the wrong time, about the wrong thing. A sentence that feels harmless. A moment of honesty that feels relieving. A plan shared too early. No one stops you. They listen, they nod, and they remember. Later, when you least expect it, those words return. Not as advice, not as support, but as leverage. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. Not as philosophy, as survival. Because power is rarely taken by force. It's usually given away, quietly, through explanation, through confession, through words that never needed to exist. And once something is revealed, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to whoever knows how to use it. Silence is one of the most misunderstood behaviors in the modern world. People assume that if you stay quiet, you must be afraid, or insecure, or lacking confidence. They confuse noise with strength and restraint with weakness. Machiavelli never made that mistake. To him, silence was not retreat. It was positioning. He understood something most people miss. Power is not built by expressing everything you feel. It is built by controlling what others are allowed to know. The moment people know too much about you, they stop reacting to you naturally and start adjusting their behavior around you. That's where leverage quietly disappears. Most people believe openness creates trust. It doesn't. Trust is built through consistency, through patterns, through behavior, over time. Exposure creates something else entirely. It creates leverage. When people know your plans, they can slow you down. When they know your fears, they can pressure you. When they know what matters most to you, they can influence your decisions without ever confronting you directly. This isn't paranoia. It's human behavior. Machiavelli understood that power doesn't come from controlling others aggressively. It comes from controlling access to yourself, what you say, when you say it, and who hears it. Silence doesn't mean saying nothing. It means saying less than what can be used against you. Most people speak for emotional relief. They want to feel understood in the moment. They don't realize they're trading long-term control for short-term comfort. Once information leaves you, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to whoever knows how to use it. That's why silence isn't about isolation, and it isn't about mistrust. It's about discipline, because power doesn't grow through constant explanation. It grows through restraint. The first thing you should never reveal is your next move. Not because it's wrong, and not because it's dangerous on the surface, but because the moment people know what you're about to do, they begin adjusting around you. You tell someone your plan, they listen, they nod, they seem supportive, and nothing feels wrong. But quietly, things begin to change. The timing feels off, momentum slows. Doubt appears where certainty used to be, not by coincidence. Machiavelli understood this clearly. Power is rarely attacked head-on. It's delayed, distracted, redirected. When people know your next move, they don't need to stop you. They just need to interfere subtly. A question that sounds reasonable. An opinion that plants hesitation. A suggestion that shifts your direction. Are you sure this is the right time? Have you thought about the risks? What if there's a better option? And suddenly, your plan is no longer yours. It's been exposed to other people's fears, insecurities, and agendas. That's the danger. Once your next move exists, outside of your own mind, it becomes editable. It can be reshaped, softened, or quietly killed. This is why powerful people move first and explain later. Silence protects momentum. The fewer people who know what you're about to do, the fewer hands are pulling at your direction. The second thing you should never reveal is your weak moments. Not because pain is shameful, and not because struggling makes you less human, but because weakness, once exposed, becomes information. When you open up to the wrong person, they don't always feel compassion. They feel curiosity. They listen carefully. They remember details. They take note of what breaks you, not to help you heal, but to understand where you bend. Machiavelli warned about this. Not everyone who listens is there to protect you. Some people listen to learn how you react under pressure. They study your doubts, your fears, your moments of hesitation. And once someone knows where you crack, they know where to press. Weakness doesn't disappear after it's shared. It gets stored, and later, during conflict, competition, or subtle power shifts, it resurfaces, not as empathy, as leverage. This is how influence works quietly, not through force, but through timing. That's why silence during weakness is not cruelty toward yourself. It's protection. Heal privately. Regain control quietly. Because the moment your pain becomes public, it stops being yours. It becomes something others can interpret, reframe, and use. Strength is not pretending you never struggle. Strength is knowing who never needs to know when you do. The third thing you should never reveal is your long-term plans, not your schedule, not your next task, your vision, the future you're quietly building. Most people share it because they want support. What they get instead is interference. You tell someone where you're trying to go. They don't attack it openly. They question it. They call it concern. They call it realism. Isn't that risky? Maybe you should slow down. Have you thought about another option? It sounds reasonable, but it's not harmless. Machiavelli understood this well. Big plans create imbalance. They disturb people who are standing still, so they don't stop you directly. They slow you down. They introduce doubt. They drain momentum. They turn clarity into hesitation. And there's another danger most people never notice. When you speak your vision too early, your mind confuses approval with progress. You feel rewarded before anything is built, and motivation quietly leaks away. That's why powerful people protect their long-term plans, not because they're afraid, but because plans are fragile. Before execution, silence keeps them alive. Results make them undeniable. You don't need witnesses while you're building. You need privacy, because once a vision is exposed, it stops growing freely. It begins growing under other people's expectations, limits, and fears. The fourth thing you should never reveal is what triggers you emotionally, what makes you angry, what makes you defensive, what makes you lose control. Because once someone knows what hurts you, they don't need power to influence you. They need timing. Machiavelli understood this clearly. A person who reacts is already being controlled. The moment your emotional responses become predictable, your behavior becomes predictable. And predictable people are easy to steer. This is how influence works quietly, not through force, not through confrontation, through small provocations, carefully chosen words, subtle reminders placed at the right moment, not enough to cause a scene, just enough to push a reaction. And once you react, the direction is no longer yours. You're responding, not deciding. That's the trap. Emotional triggers turn people into instruments, not because they are weak, but because they are exposed. Machiavelli warned that control doesn't require domination. It requires access. When someone knows what moves you emotionally, they gain access to your behavior. This is why silence around your triggers is not coldness. It's insulation. The less people know what affects you internally, the harder it is for them to move you externally. Control your reactions, and you control the situation, because the person who stays composed while others react always holds the advantage. The fifth thing you should never reveal is your regrets. The mistakes you wish you could erase, the decisions you replay in your head, the moments you still feel quietly ashamed of, not because you should deny them, but because once regrets are exposed, they stop being lessons. They become labels. People don't remember how much you've grown. They remember where you failed. They store it. they wait. And when you step forward, they pull you backward, using your own past. Machiavelli understood this well. The past is the easiest weapon to use. It doesn't need proof. It doesn't need context. It only needs repetition. You did this before. This is who you really are. And suddenly, no matter how far you've come, you're standing where you once fell. Regret, once spoken, no longer belongs to you. It becomes something others can reshape, reinterpret, and use to limit you. This is why powerful people carry their regrets quietly. They don't erase them. They don't deny them. They convert them into discipline. Because regret shared becomes leverage. Regret mastered becomes strength. Let your past guide how you move forward, not how others define you. Growth doesn't require an audience. It requires control over what you allow to follow you. The sixth thing you should never reveal is your sources of power. Your money, your connections, your leverage. Not because power is wrong to have, but because power, once exposed, changes how people relate to you. The moment people know what you possess, they begin calculating what they can gain, what they can ask for, what they might take. Machiavelli understood this clearly. Power that announces itself invites resistance. Power that stays quiet moves freely. This is why wealth whispers, not out of modesty, out of survival. When people know your resources, they stop seeing you as a person. They see opportunity or threat, and both come with a cost. Expectations rise. Entitlement grows. Resentment follows. Suddenly, your strength becomes something you must manage. Not because it's heavy, but because it's visible. This is how power leaks. Not through loss, through exposure. The smartest move is not denying what you have. It's keeping it unreadable. Let people guess. Because what others can't measure, they can't plan around. Machiavelli warned that control doesn't come from display. It comes from uncertainty. The less predictable your resources are, the harder it is for anyone to position themselves against you. Power works best when it's felt, not explained, and protected, not advertised. The final thing you should never reveal is who you truly trust. Not because everyone is an enemy, and not because isolation creates strength, but because trust, revealed too early, becomes vulnerability. Most people don't lose power by trusting no one. They lose it by trusting the wrong person at the wrong time. Machiavelli never said to cut everyone off. He warned something more precise. Trust is built quietly, tested slowly, proven over time. The mistake is announcing it. Once people know who you trust, they know where to enter, where to influence, where to reach you indirectly. This is how power gets bypassed. Not through you, but through the people around you. Silence doesn't mean isolation. It means discretion. You don't remove people from your life. You simply stop giving them full access to everything, because access is power. And once access is controlled, influence weakens. This is the discipline most people learn too late. Power isn't about domination. It isn't about control over others. It's about restraint, knowing what to say, what to withhold, and when to disappear. Most people didn't lose power because they were weak. They lost it because they revealed the wrong thing too early to the wrong person. If this resonated with you, write it in the comments. Just one thing you'll never reveal again. No explanations, no stories, just the truth.